So, Max,
Yes.
I put a post out, I think this was just from Facebook. I ended up having about 100 questions in about 10 minutes. So we've compiled and condensed. Obviously, a lot of those were fairly similar. But what I want to do today is go through a Q&A, which is almost like audience questions.
Sure.
People, I don't know where they're up to in that cycle, but they're fairly similar what they're trying to ask. So the first question, which, to be honest with you, I've got black spots in this as well.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, who are the structure of the chain? So we've talked a lot, registered provider.
Yeah.
There's the government sitting somewhere, and there's the tenant, and there's you, and there's. So describe the standard chain within supported living in particular. Who gets paid? How does it filter down, and how does it ultimately end up with the person that owns the property?
Well, first of all, I like to look at it. It's a team effort. It's different. It's not like you as a landlord just working with a HMO expert agent that's going to rent your property out for you. It is a team effort, and these schemes need to be approved by commissioners that work at the local authority. So let's look at who's involved. First of all, you, the landlord. Your responsibility as the landlord is to go out, find the correct property, refurb or build it to a bespoke specification for the use of a particular type of care or support. And that will vary depending on who you have in there. You then have the care provider. The care provider is responsible for providing the service, the care package within your property.
So the care provider are usually a non-property company. They are they are there to actually provide the care for the people.
Their sole responsibility is to provide care and support.
And what structure would they be? Would they be charities, CICs, what?
Or anything. They could be a private company, charity, CIC. Let's ignore the company. Let's ignore how the company's set up because it can be any. They can be private. They can be a charity. They can be a CIC. It could be a charity.
But their job is to specifically look after the people in that. And
their job is to specifically look after the people in there.
Yeah.
And then you've got RPs. Now, RPs and housing associations are the same thing.
Right.
So a housing association is a non-for-profit RP.
Okay.
So all housing associations are RPs,
right?
But not all RPs are housing associations.
Because one makes profit, one doesn't.
Exactly.
Right, got you.
So the RP's responsibility is to oversee the services provided at the property, maintain the property, and work with the local authorities and also the residents, the people that are going to be receiving the care and support in the property.
So at this stage now, we've got property at the bottom.
Yep.
We've got people living in the property who have an established care need.
Yep.
We have a care provider directly above them that actually physically go into the property, provide care.
Yep.
So they've got carers that on their staff, that kind of thing that we're all familiar with. And sitting above that is a housing association or an RP that have got overall responsibility for the property. And do they employ the care provider? Are they the people that pay?
They will have a service level agreement with the care provider. Yeah, you won't in a supported living structure. You will have the lease with the RP.
That's what
because the RP is responsible for the property.
Yeah,
it's compliant, that it's maintained. They pay to repair it, fix it.
Yeah,
all of that sort of stuff. So
now the RP signs a contract with the landlord owner of that property.
Yeah.
So let's, for argument's sake, say that's a 10-year contract. What kind of transparency do you as the landlord have over who that care provider is underneath it?
So again, it's a team effort. You need to know who the care provider is, and they need to be supported. The care provider still needs to have support from the local authority to go and provide the services. If they're mucking up, then the RP can step in
and change care provider.
And they can.
Yeah.
But let's just keep it simple.
Yeah.
The care provider is still commissioned by the council to go and provide those services, and I'm often working with a care provider up front because I know that they will have a specific niche. They could be doing mental health, they could be doing autism, they could be doing drug addiction recovery. So you need to be working with them because ultimately they know how they need that. They're using it, so they know the layout, they know what they need, they know the spec finishes. So we work with them up front, but ultimately our deal isn't with them, it's with the RP. And I'm going to throw a caveat in a minute because there's always caveats, but let's keep it simple for now.
So just going through in terms of, I suppose, governance and compliance, really, as we go through. So the landlord at the bottom, if you've got a property with supported living outside of a standard residential property, so forget HMOs now as well, because these aren't really HMOs, what landlord obligations are there on you as a developer to create this? Have you got any extra compliance that you have to tick off? Are we just now talking solely about the building regs and planning being correct and things like that?
100%, yeah. But also, a decent RP is not going to sign a lease with you unless the property is compliant. So you're working with them to begin with. If you're a proper developer, we develop to spec. If you've got old stock, then there's going to be a negotiation with you and the RP to go, all right, well, you know, we'll fix this, you fix that. But then there's a rent negotiation that would go in with that.
Yeah, okay.
But ultimately, you know, you can do them on different styles of leases, but all of our leases are FRI, fully repair and insuring leases. And that would then pass all of the responsibility of property compliance to the RP.
Okay. So that, and then in terms of the care provider, their governance that they have to, so you said obviously they're directly approved by the local authority.
Yeah.
Is that where the Ofsted and things like that come in?
Yeah, so care providers will be governed by Ofsted, which is children, and the CQC.
Yeah. Okay. So then there's a clear way to do the due diligence on a care provider.
100%. You can go on you can go onto Ofsted, look at their reports. You can go onto, if they're not dealing with children, then you go onto CQC and look at their reports.
Yeah. And then above that, housing associations and RPs, the level of governance and sort of accountability that they've got.
They're regulated by the regulator of social housing, which is the governing body for them.
Yeah. So that's just a nice quick tick list to make sure. So people outside, you know, watching this, they're looking at a lease and they're thinking, oh, well, who's the provider? Who's this? Who's that? Breaking it down right the way through from RP, care provider, and then actually you potentially as the landlord or you yourself as the developer. Who sits above the housing associations and RPs?
So the people that would be providing them with the placements or the residents would be the local council, local authority.
Yeah. And
so they would be the local, they would be the care commissioners.
And who establishes the demand for, so let's say, which I know it's irrelevant for you, you've signed a 10-year lease with the RP and all of those tick boxes are in place. You've now got 6 people living in this block of flats.
Yeah.
One of those rooms becomes vacant.
Yeah.
So who establishes the need for a new tenant in there?
The RP and the local authority are working together.
So the care provider has no say on who's actually in there. They just provide the care, but the RP are the ones that say, right, we've got, you know, Joe's leaving that property and we need to find Susan to put her in, sort of thing. And that relationship is dealt with between RP and council.
But the care provider will be involved with the council as well. It's a bit of a team effort. Yeah.
So their relationship. RPs and care providers, that kind of dovetailing relationship is really key.
And then this comes down to if you're on frameworks or not, and the care provider's relationship with the local authority, because the care provider may choose who they want in there, or they could be on a agreement with the local authority where they just get placements
directly,
and that is down to their relationship with the local authority. Which, as a landlord, it's important to know, but you don't need to dig into that too far.
Yeah, okay.